Moving on to some injury reports, injury updates. Obviously, unfortunate news coming out of Golden State with the injury to Moses Moody. Suffered a torn patellar tendon in the Warriors win against the Dallas Mavericks over the weekend, or a couple days ago. Just, I mean, a brutal, went up for a dunk in transition, a clean play, and just planted, and it was brutal to watch. I mean, he got stretchered out. Obviously, you could tell the whole building, kind of the air was taken out of the building there, especially from the Warriors bench. They were able to hold on and win the game, but obviously you lose a big piece of your rotation, not only for this season but for next season as well. So before we get into Steph and just the rest of the season and injuries and stuff like that, what's the latest on Moses Moody, his recovery timeline, and when can we kind of expect to see him back, if any time in the near future?
Well, first, Tamara, we want to send our best to Moses Moody. It's brutal looking injury, very gruesome looking injury, and quite honestly, it's one of the worst ones that I've seen firsthand. And so we want to send our best to him, wish him the best in surgery. I believe I thought I heard somebody say it was going to be today. If it wasn't today, it's tomorrow. But he's having surgery, and we'll get a clearer picture on what that recovery process and timeline is going to look like. But a torn patellar tendon, probably the worst knee injury that you could have other than absolutely tearing everything in your knee. But the good news for Moses Moody is that it's only a torn patellar tendon. Again, a major injury. It's going to be a 9, 10, 11-month recovery. He may not even play next season, and we won't really know until he starts his rehab process and whatnot. But it's a significant injury. The good news, though, it's just the patellar tendon. Nothing else was torn. The ACL is intact. The MCL is intact. All the little ligaments and tendons are intact. And so it's going to be a very smooth surgery. They're just going to go in there, fix the patellar tendon, and then we'll see what that timeline is, that 9 to 12 months recovery time. So we wish Moses Moody the best. Obviously, another devastating knee injury for the Warriors, who are already without Jimmy Butler. They're without Stephen Curry, even though Curry did not have surgery and he didn't tear anything. He's been out since the end of January with that runner's knee in quotes. They keep saying that it's nothing major. And Tomer, the one thing that I think is kind of funny and you can laugh about is they said this is going to be a 1 to 2 week to week type scenario when it first happened. Okay, we go into the All-Star break. We're expecting him to be back on the court after that. That doesn't happen. They say he's had a setback. It's going to be another week or two. We get to that point again for reevaluation. Oh, it's going to be another week or two. We've been through this cycle of, hey, he could be back at the end of this 6-game road trip that they were just on. No, maybe it's going to be during this homestand now against the Nets and the Wizards. Well, we're here now, and Curry's not going to play on Friday against the Wizards. So what are we really doing here if you're the Warriors? What is the point of having Steph Curry come back when you're the 10 seed in the West? You're going to have to win 2 very tough playing games to draw a matchup with the Thunder, who you are not going to beat at this point with Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody down. Al Horford is still hurt. Porzingis could be out of the lineup at any point. Draymond Green has been dealing with his lower back soreness. It's just a lost season at this point, Tomer. And I know Warriors fans want to hold out hope and they want to see Steph back on the court. He wants to get back out on the court. But from an organizational standpoint, you've seen these major injuries happen. Is it really logical to bring Steph back at this point in the season and risk that for really no reward? Your reward would be getting the 8 seed. And at that point, I just don't believe that they would win more than 1 game against the Thunder in a series.
The Warriors are just, they're too far down in the standing. They are the 10 seed. They're probably going to finish as the 10 seed. Everyone below them has already been eliminated from playoff or play in contention. It's basically them, the Blazers, and the Clippers trying to fight for who can get the 8th seed and maybe home court in a playing game or a second playing game just, to try and make the playoffs. Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, I think it's very unfortunate. You have just Jimmy Butler injury. You have the Moses Moody injury. Steph is nearing on 2 months now worth of just games missed. I know that we had the All-Star break, so maybe a couple of days off there, but they've been without him for almost 2 months, and that's just ridiculous to think about. So when this is supposed to be a non-serious injury, they've called just runner's knee. So maybe this is something more serious, and maybe they do consider shutting him down. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure what you like. If he's ready to come back, then he's ready to come back, and you are the 10 seed regardless. In this draft, maybe it makes sense for them to just allow them to, shut him down. If you lose that playing game, you get a lottery pick, and try to go from there. But yeah, this definitely seems like a lost season for the Warriors. I just had a lot of promise to start once Jimmy went down. I know they even had hopes of landing Giannis Antetokounmpo. that obviously did not happen, and it's just been nothing but downhill from there. And honestly, I mean, Draymond, as great as he's been in the past, he's certainly not what he used to be. You mentioned the lower back soreness he's dealt with. He's on and off. Like Porzingis could be. I mean, he's thankfully he's healthy now, and he looks good when he plays. But that always feels like a mystery for the last couple of years here. Al Horford hasn't been available. With I think he injured his calf, if I'm not mistaken. He's out for a while here. So just they can't get any lower, but there really doesn't seem to be much upside of even bringing Steph back unless he's absolutely ready. And even then, can this team really win more than a game against the Thunder? I don't believe so. But do you think otherwise? Do you think they can win more than a game against the Thunder?
I don't. And the reason I say that, I watched that game last night while watching some of the others that were on against the Brooklyn Nets. It went down to the final possession, Tomer, against a Brooklyn Nets team that has no intention of winning. The Nets actually looked like that they tried to throw that game at the end.
They did.
Just launching the ball up in the air, not even close to the basket, just to try to lose the game because the Warriors weren't they didn't look like that they could win. That was the thing. If the Nets played to their full strength, they probably win that game by 8 to 9 points. And that kind of sums up where the Warriors are at this point in the season. You can see all the emotion and the hype surrounding this team that was there in December and January. At that point, they look like a team that could be a threat. They could rise up to the 4 or 5 seed, maybe draw a favorable matchup and be in a position where they were last year, where they beat the Rockets in the first round. And who knows what happens if Steph doesn't injure his hamstring against the Timberwolves. That's kind of where they were at. Jimmy Butler goes down. They try to rebound from that. Steph goes down. They're trying their hardest to rebound from that. Other guys go out of the lineup, and then you have this very traumatic injury to Moses Moody. That's just the end of the season. It's like the icing on top of the cake for everything that could have gone wrong for the Warriors this year. There's no point to bring Steph back. If he wants to play, I mean, he wants to play, Tomer. He wants to play. I've been told that, and they've been reiterating it multiple times, that Steph wants to come back and play, but they will not rush him back. He has to be 110% for him to play this year. And again, after all these injuries, does it really make sense? The answer is no. Just rest the guys for the rest of the season, see what can happen in the lottery, and go from there, because you're not going to win in the playoffs.